Hello, welcome to installment 7 in this 10-part series looking at a variety of tools, techniques and methods to enable online educators to teach students remotely through the internet in a way that will help to maximize the engagement of those students with their learning. My name's Justin Arnold from the Tech Train, and in today's installment what I want to focus on is how to think about differentiation when dealing with delivering online materials to students remotely. It can be quite difficult to think about this, although we are used to doing that in the classroom, of course. We're well used to differentiating tasks for students when they're in the room, but thinking about delivering that same level of differentiation online is something of a challenge. I want to look at a couple of practical examples today with you, as well as giving a few thoughts on other things that you can do based on some of the tools, techniques and websites that I've looked at over the previous few videos in this series. So the first thing that I want to look at is something that I have touched upon in a previous video, and that is using Google Sites. Although of course it's quite possible for you to use any other website building system that you have access to and are familiar with. But Google Sites is free, it's very simple and quick and easy to use, and I covered that in the third video in this series, so if you haven't seen that one, head back to number 3 and just check that out. What I have here is a website already built. I'm not going to claim that it is fantastic or well designed. It's just a practical example of one way in which you can think about offering differentiation. And of course, we're very clear here that the differentiation we're talking about is not differentiation by outcome. So it's not a case of the higher ability students will simply produce more or simply get a higher mark. What we're trying to achieve here is that all students will be able to achieve the end goal, but some will require more scaffolding, more support, more structure in order to get there. So that's the kind of differentiation that I'm looking at here. So you see with this website here, Differentiation Example, what I've got here are basically, if you imagine this, the questions or tasks that I want the students to do. So it could be an embedded Google form, for example, or some other tasks that I want the students to do. However, for the high ability students, that may be fine. They can just get on with it straight away. But for some students, for the lower and perhaps mid ability students, they may need some further support before they can get started. So what I've got here is a link to that further support. So I'm going to click on that, and this takes me to a sub page. You'll notice that this is not listed in the navigation menu, so it's not a case of everyone will just accidentally find a random support page. You can only get to that support page if you click the link that says I need more support. So in this support page, you can see I've got some extra help here, very useful, and also a video, and that's something again which can be useful. Your higher ability students may well simply be able to look at written instructions, but it might be easier for those who need a bit more help, or perhaps for people for whom English, for example, is not their first language. It may be helpful to have some more visual demonstration of how to get started or what to do. In this case, a video on how to convert from decimal numbers to binary numbers. So that would then give them that extra help. It's not there forcibly in everyone's faces. So the temptation for the higher ability students, all right, they could click through if they wanted to, but it's not an obvious path. Watch the video, look at all this extra support, and then do the tasks. It's here's the task, oh, and if you need more help, click here. So then you can go through and click on this, watch the video and so forth. At this point, again, there's a choice. We can either go and get further help. So you see at the bottom here, if you need further help, click here. So if I click on that, there's another level of support. So perhaps you could put a little video in on the support page, which just covers the main skills. And then on support page 2, perhaps this is where you're targeting those students who are at the lower ability end, who perhaps need the maximum amount of support to get there. So what would you do normally in a classroom situation with them? What other support would you give them? At this point, perhaps it might be that you give them access to a Google Docs document, which is a template with sentence starters or some other additional resource that they can then use in order to access the main task. It could be a sheet that they can print off or access that has the keywords with definitions or some other scaffolding material. And then when they're ready for that, they can click there and go back to the main task. So this is a very simple way in which you can provide that scaffolded differentiation in a structured way. So very quickly, I'll show you how this can be done. So here we are in Google Sites. Again, if you've not done Google Sites before, just head back to number 3 in this tutorial series and have a look at how to do that. What I'm going to do is on the the pages section there, I'm going to add a new page. Let's just call this hexadecimal. So this would be the tasks that I want for the students to do with hexadecimal. So you see that I have got a navigation menu at the top there, and that hexadecimal page is listed, but the support pages aren't listed. So how do you hide pages from the main navigation menu so they're only available on the 1 or 2 pages you want to provide access to them from? That was a long sentence. So how do you hide them? Well, on the right hand side here in the support and support 2 section, so these are the support pages, you can see there's a strike through line on the page, and that means that that page is not shown in the main navigation menu here. When you have one of these pages selected or you're hovering over it, there is a little 3 dotted menu on the right hand side. And if we click that, you can see that at this point, I've got the option to show in navigation. If I have a page here which is already showing in navigation, you'll see that I have hide from navigation there. And if I was to click on hide from navigation, then it's disappeared. Obviously the home page can be accessed by clicking the main menu at the top, and any other pages would still be there. It doesn't hide the entire menu, but it does hide that page from it. So that's a way of including support pages without having them in your face that could be accessed in a non-linear way. You want to provide a more linear, a more structured differentiation path or journey for the students. So in this case, I've got my hexadecimal page. I'll put my main task on this. Then if I want to provide one level of support, what I'll do is click on the 3 dots on the right hand side and add a sub page. So this page appears underneath this, and I'll call this hex support, and click done. So that now appears underneath it. It does obviously appear in the main navigation menu. So what I'll do is click on the 3 dots and hide from navigation. So now we can see the hexadecimal topic, but we can't see the support pages there. We have to go to the hexadecimal page. And here, if I was to put in a link, let's just type the word support page here. I'll click the word I want to turn into a link. Click on the hyperlink button just here and then choose the page from this drop down list I want to choose. So in this case, hex support. Click apply. And there we are. Now, of course, on the hex support page, here I'll provide some extra help. Maybe I'll put in a YouTube video or something and some other material. Maybe, as I say, documents perhaps that have keywords or sentence starters. But you'll want to provide access to the main page. So when they're ready, they can go back to main page here and then simply select the word or words you want to turn into a link. Go to the hexadecimal page in this case, click apply, and there we go. So now if I was to publish that, just click publish and have a look at this website. So here we are, we're in, let's go to the hexadecimal page first of all. So we've gone to hexadecimal support page here, click on that. And then go back to the main page when we're ready. And of course, if you want to put more support pages in there, you could have a sub page under the hex support. So that's another one which won't be visible in the main navigation. Once you've gone to the main support page, if you feel you're okay at that point, you can go back. But once you're on that support page, you will have access to a further level of support should you need it. So that's using a structured, linear way of providing differentiated support and resources for students. So hopefully that'll be really useful to you. I'm going to cover another way of providing, again, structured kind of support, but this time through assessment. So depending upon the responses to a question that students provide, you then direct them one way or another. So this is obviously in Google Forms, and I looked at Google Forms in the 4th video in this series, in which I looked at Google Forms using quizzes and scavenger hunts. So if you haven't looked at that one and you're not familiar with Google Forms, go back, have a look at video number 4 in this series. But here I have a Google Forms set up, and what I'm going to do is preview this so we can see what it would look like from the student's point of view. I've not put a lot of content in here, just a simple example. So here we are, differentiation example. Let's click next to get started. So here I have a question, and this is a drop-down question. This works with either drop-down questions or multiple choice questions, this method. Doesn't work with short answer or anything else like that. So I'm presented here with a question: what is the binary number 10111001 in decimal? And I have some choices. Now, if I was to get this choice wrong, so if I was to choose the wrong answer, let's say 180 here, and I click next, because I have chosen the wrong answer, what happens is I'm sent to a section which is called binary recap, and here there is a video that I can watch which will remind me of how to convert from decimal to from binary to decimal. So there'll be a video and any other information you want to include. So that will only be shown if I've got the question wrong. Now there's a question underneath it. This is a different question. So once I've looked at that video and I've gone back over the revision, here's another question for me to try. Let's say I get this question wrong as well. Let's say I put 200 down here and click next. So here you can see I've been sent to a section called Binary Recap Extended, and I've not put any content on here, but you can see that I could put here a longer video, maybe a whiteboard demonstration. I covered whiteboards and whiteboard videos and so forth in the last video I did, number 6 in this tutorial series, so have a look at some of the examples there. So you could have a whiteboard demonstration that shows, as you would in a classroom or as you would sitting next to a student with a bit of paper perhaps, showing exactly how to do it step by step, providing that scaffold material. And then after that I can click next, and then this takes me to the main questions. So now I've gone through the 2 levels of differentiation and support. I've now got the main test questions, and at this point hopefully they should be okay. So let's have a look at what would happen then if I just leave that for a moment, but I do a different route. So in this case, I'm going to choose the correct answer straight away. So in this one, I'm going to choose 185 as the correct answer, click next, and you can see here I'm sent straight to the main task, that main binary to decimal task with all the questions on. So it has completely skipped both the support section and the extra support section. Of course, if I went to the support section and I got that question right, then I leapfrog over the extra support and continue with the main questions. So how do you do that? How do you adjust the questions people see depending upon the answers that they give? Let's open up a new blank form and see how we do this. So I'm going to have differentiation demo. There we go. So that'll be the title of this. And now what I'm going to do is divide this into what we call sections. Think of sections as chapters or pages, and you can divide those separately. And it is the sections that you can leapfrog over or direct people towards. So I'm going to click this section button here at the bottom, so just here. And now I've got my first section, which is just the title and some basic instructions. In this first main section, this would be my starter question, perhaps. So this would be the question which I'm going to decide on whether they're going to carry on with the main task or have some differentiation. So let's just choose a question here. Let's say, what is 1001? What is the binary number? What is the binary number 1001 in decimal? There we go. So as I say, for this to work, you have to either have multiple choice or drop down. I'm going to choose drop down for this one. And you would have your answers. So in this case, I'm going to have 7, I'm going to have 8, I'm going to have 9, and I'm going to have 10. And you can obviously put as many of those as you want. I probably will want this as a quiz that is marked. So I'm very quickly, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail looking at stuff I've covered already in the previous video, video 4. I'm really just looking at the new stuff. So if anything I do here, you think, wait a minute, slow down on that one, head back and look at number 4. Hopefully this will then make more sense to you. But I'm just going to switch this over to be a quiz now. And this would allow me to choose what is the correct answer and also add a score to it. So in this case, the correct answer is 9, and I'm going to say 1 point for getting that right. However, what do I want to happen if they do get it right? Well, I want them to continue with the main questions, the main task. But what do I want to happen if they get it wrong? I want to give them some support. So we need to then create a new section. And this new section is going to be the support level 1, we'll call it, whatever we want to do there. And here we can add some more materials. So maybe I might go and choose a video here that would provide them with some support. So let's say tech train decimal to, no, it's binary to decimal, isn't it? Binary to decimal, and there we go. Right, so from binary to decimal, that's the video there. So we'll insert that video as a bit of support. So we can put some instructions, watch video. And you can obviously put some other documents in there as well, whatever you feel would be supportive and helpful to them. Now, once they've had that support, we'll then want to give them another question to see whether that support is enough for them to then have a chance at going to the main task, or whether we need to provide more support. So I'm going to add another section. Sorry, I didn't mean to create a new section just yet. Let's delete that. Sorry, a question rather, another question. So I've got my first starter question and question there. Now my section 3 is support level 1. There's the support. Let's click add a question now. So this is my question at the bottom of the first support page. So what is 1101 in decimal? And we'll have this as a drop down. As I say, short answer won't work. It's got to be drop down or multiple choice. So let's then say we'll have this as 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There we are. We'll leave it at that. So now what I'll do is do answer key and choose 13 as the correct answer. 1 point for that. Click done. I'm also going to make sure that the questions are required, so they can't skip these questions. Obviously that would make things slightly easy if they could just skip them. So we'll make them answer the question, but if they get it right or wrong, we'll do different things. So that's the question after the support, and then obviously based on that, we'll either send them to the main task or further support. Let's add now one more section. I'm not going to do further support. I'm just going to do the main section now. So add a section. This is the main task. And these would be where the main questions would be. So I won't put anything in there, but you can just put the main questions in there. Right, so that's the sections now. If I just click the move section, you can see this is the kind of structure that I've got. So I have my instructions at the top, the main title, instructions about what it's all about. Then I have my starter questions. So that's the question that will determine which direction they go in. After that starter question, I have the support level 1, which they'll be sent to if they get the starter question wrong, and then the main task, which they'll be sent to if they get the starter question right. So let's just click save on that one. And how do we do that jumping? Well, what I'm going to do is go to this starter question here. This is the initial question. And at the bottom of the question that we've included here are 3 dots at the bottom right corner here. I'm going to click on the 3 dots and it says here, go to section based on answer. So I click on that and you can see now I have the option, depending on which answer they choose, to send them to a different section. So if they get the correct answer here, 9, then I want them to jump to the main task. So they won't need support, they go to the main task. However, if they get any of the other answers chosen, then they've got it wrong, let's give them some support. So we'll continue to support level 1. There we are, so we'll choose support level 1 for all of the wrong answers. There we are. So that's done. So then there's support level 1. Now I've got the main task. I haven't got support level 2, but you can see how I'd probably be able to add that in quite easily. So for the support level 1 question, I'm going to click here again and go to section based on answer. If they choose the correct answer here, then yes, we'd go to the main task. However, if they get it wrong, I would go to support level 2, a section I haven't made, but you can see how that would be easily made. So using that method, you can create, it's almost like a choose your own adventure type story where depending on your choice, you're going to go down a different route and eventually you'll meet back up at the main task. So in that way, students will only see the support if they seem to need it because they've got the question wrong. And you can provide as many levels of that support as you want to. So you may have support level 1, support level 2. So again, you're giving just enough support to those students who got it wrong, but you know, they only need a little bit of a reminder. And then support level 2 for those students that maybe haven't been there for that lesson, or it's been a long time, they've had absences, or for whatever reason, they just need the maximum amount of support that you can give them there. And of course, by combining, as I say, some of the things I've already looked at in some of these videos, whiteboards and so forth, you can provide a range of those support materials to them. So that's using Google websites, or Google Sites rather, and Google Forms for providing differentiated support. I would also just throw a couple other ideas out there to you as recommendations. First of all, if you're creating videos for your students, which is a popular thing to do, either screen capture or using your webcam, if you're doing that, I would strongly recommend that you keep those videos quite short. Now that's for 2 reasons. One, that students don't necessarily have particularly long attention spans for that. But also, if you have a long video, that probably means you're going into a lot of detail, and not all the students will need that level of detail. So what you could do is break what you would potentially do in one big video into 3 smaller videos. One that just covers the basic ideas quite quickly. So again, you're then teaching basically to the higher ability students, but you explain in that video that if they need further help, then you can go to this second video and then a third video if needed. So you are, if you like, providing a video for your higher ability students, a separate short video, excuse me, for your medium ability students, and then a short video for your lower ability students. And then they can choose how many or which combination of those to look at. 3 5-minute videos is much better than 1 15 or 20-minute video that might lose their attention span. So that's one thing I'd recommend as far as videos are concerned. I would also recommend that when you're looking at Google Sites or any other website building platform, that you think about providing as much of a range of media as you possibly can. Yes, have text in there. Yes, have images in there. Yes, have videos in there. Yes, have animations in there. Yes, have audio files in there. Create a big range of different learning types. Give them that variety rather than it all being text or just being videos. Try and provide that range for students just to keep their motivation, keep their interest there. And finally, if you're using whiteboard software such as the ones that I covered in video 6, Lots of those whiteboard software products, the website ones and the standalone ones, provide you with the option of exporting that whiteboard as an image and also exporting it as either an animation or a video. Now, I would export in both formats. And then again, you've got the option of providing the visual image to all of your students as a reminder, but then those that need to see how that image was created or a reminder of how you got to that point, they can see the video format. So you're creating one resource, your whiteboard, but then you're saving it in two different formats, which again provide two different levels of support. So those are some thoughts then on providing differentiation online using remote teaching. I hope that you found those useful. If you did find any of that useful, it will be a fantastic thing if you could just give this video a like, give it a thumbs up. That does make a difference. If you know other teachers who would find this useful, then please do share this video with them. Let's spread the word and try and help each other as much as we possibly can. If you're not subscribed to the channel, then hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so that you'll know exactly when more videos like this one go live, so that you get that support as soon as you possibly can. If you have any questions or any problems, any issues at all or suggestions, do leave them in the comments section below. I read all comments and I reply as soon as I possibly can. And in the next video, I'm going to be looking at another type of resource that you may not have considered providing to students, but is one that will be fantastically popular and effective if they rely on their mobile phones more than getting themselves sat in front of a computer. And that's creating podcasts. So I'm going to show you how to create your own podcast and then have that available to students so that even if they're on their mobile phone and they can simply switch that on and listen to you explaining topics or discussing things in a way that will be of benefit to them. So that's another type of distance support that you can provide. So thank you very much indeed for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Bye for now.